The movie revolves around its protagonist, 11-year-old Leo, dealing with cancer. The illness has given Leo the ability to separate his spirit from his physical body, allowing him to hover and fly through the air in an intangible, invisible, and impalpable form, with his body remaining mostly asleep. He refers to this state as a phantom, but if he spends too much time away from his body, he will begin to fade away before disappearing entirely. Meanwhile, Tanner, a policeman, is hospitalized in the same hospital after breaking a leg in an accident. That was not helpful at all, because he was on the trail of a bandit nicknamed the Man with the Broken Face, who had caused the accident, and planned to take control of the city with the help of a computer virus in the next 24 hours. Leo and Alex will then join forces to save the city, all in less than a day. The thrilling plotline starts with an 11-year-old boy named Leo who is diagnosed with a serious illness. While in bed, he reads a bedtime story about a police officer chasing after an eliminator to his younger sister Titi. In the story, a police officer walks up several stories of stairs to the building's rooftop. He confronts a villain named Exterminator. Following the story, Leo informs Titi of his secret and consults Titi about his illness, for which he is about to be admitted to the hospital. Leo walks out to his parents after putting his sister to sleep. Meanwhile, his parents are packing Leo's luggage. His parents console him about his departure. In the police headquarters, a lieutenant named Tanner reports to his captain, named Simon. He tells Simon that while he was getting the groceries, he met a journalist named Miss Delaney. When he was busy debating with Miss Delaney on junk food and healthy food, a group of 2 burglars sneaked into the supermarket. The burglars threatened the female cashier at gunpoint and demanded her money. During the robbery, one of the burglars named Roger fires his gun to look professional. Tanner, who observes them from the side, uses the opportunity to act as if he has been shot. He uses a tomato to fabricate his shirt as a blood stain. Moreover, he seemingly knocks out on the floor. When the Bulgarians move to investigate Tanner's body, Tanner uses the opportunity and successfully captures the burglars. However, he unknowingly blows up the supermarket in the process. Captain Simon, who had enough of Tanner's clumsy behavior, demotes him. Moreover, he also assigns him grunt work at the port portal. The same night in the hospital, Leo's illness worsens and laments over the loss of his hair. Leo, who has been admitted to the hospital for more than a month, is suggested to take a few more blood samples in order to comprehend if the medication has been working or not. Disheartened and worried, Leo informs his mother that he wishes to go back home. His mother tries to console him and tells him that he is a brave child. Moreover, everyone in the house misses his presence. His mother leaves Leo after putting him to sleep, acknowledging that Leo had separated his spirit from his physical body, and Leo is following her to their house. After arriving home, she weeps over Leo's condition but does not let anyone see her. Leo, in his phantom state, leaves his home and flies back to the hospital in his body. Meanwhile, in the mayor's office, the mayor receives an unknown phone hanging from his window from a mysterious, greatly disfigured man. The man broadcasts his message of causing a blackout that affects all of New York City. He informs the mayor the blackout was done by a powerful computer virus he has put into the internet that will destroy the entire city's infrastructure in the next 24 hours unless he receives a payment of $1 billion. While the man refers to himself as the King of New York, newspaper outlets begin calling him the disfigured man. Tanner is enjoying his pizza when he encounters a member of a terrorist group. He knocks one of them out and calls the headquarters for a backup. When he asks the woman on the phone about the blackout, she informs him that the blackout is done by a guy wearing a cap and jacket. Just as Tanner turns, he encounters the mysterious disfigured man. Tanner chases after him, however, he gets tricked and knocked out by a box hung by the man. An injured Tanner is taken by the paramedics to the hospital. In the hospital, the doctor informs Miss Delaney about Tanner's state. He informs her that Tanner is in a rough state and that he has fractured one of his legs, and will be under observation once he wakes up. After hearing Tanner's state, Miss Delaney weeps. She is seen by Tanner. When Tanner tries to console a weeping Miss Delaney, Tanner's phantom encounters Leo. Leo informs Tanner that she cannot see or hear him because he is in the state of a phantom. Just as Tanner's phantom starts to fade, Leo guides a confused Tanner's phantom back into his body, as he has done for countless other patients. The next morning, Leo meets Titi, who has come along with her parents to meet Leo. While his parents are busy with the doctor, Titi gifts him a drawing about Leo in his phantom state that she has drawn. Leo looks longingly at his family leaving the hospital. The nurse informs him about the pasta she has bought for him. However, Leo refuses it to eat because he wishes to eat pasta made by his dad. Tanner, who is stuck in the hospital, contacts Simon. He informs him about his knowledge of the disfigured man's whereabouts, but an already enraged Simon refuses his help and dismisses him. Leo meets Tanner in the hospital's hallways. Leo gets excited after knowing Tanner's real identity of being a cop, but Tanner, who is already infuriated by his situation, takes his anger out on Leo. Leo apologizes to Tanner for bothering him, but Tanner realizes his not-so-ethical behavior and apologizes to Leo. Leo is amazed to find that Tanner remembers his phantom, as all other patients forget. On the other hand, the disfigured man tries to record a video to broadcast with the help of his henchmen in their hideout, but everything seems to go wrong. Tanner changes his voice to notify Simon about the disfigured man's whereabouts, but Simon recognizes Tanner after his name appears on his phone screen. Miss Delaney pays Tanner a visit at the hospital and chastises him for his self-neglect. Further, she finds Tanner addressing her formally, which frustrates her, so she finally introduces herself as Mary. Leo, who is present there, introduces himself to Mary and tells her about his dream of becoming a cop. However, Mary could not spend more time with them before she leaves for an appointment she has with an unknown man, claiming to have a vital clue about the disfigured man. Tanner is reluctant and wants her to go with someone as it is not safe, but Mary refuses his help. Leo convinces Tanner and helps him by following Mary in his phantom state. He followed Mary throughout the city while Tanner sits with Leo's body. Leo informs Tanner about Mary's whereabouts. While in the elevator, Mary calls Tanner and apologizes for her behavior. Tanner inquires Mary about her whereabouts to confirm if Leo is telling the truth. Tanner is surprised to find that Leo has been following Mary all this time. Mary and Leo's phantom arrives at the -3 floor. In the parking lot, Mary gets ambushed by the disfigured man, who is enraged by Mary's article about the disfigured man. But luckily she manages to escape with the help of Leo's phantom and Tanner via telephone. After escaping, Mary returns to the hospital. Tanner informs Mary that Leo follows her throughout the city. At first, Mary expresses her disappointment, but then she hugs Tanner for saving her life. When Mary is about to leave, Tanner reveals to her that he knows the whereabouts of the disfigured man and his henchmen. Tanner suggests to Mary that the informer, named the Mole, an ex-con on parole he sent earlier to help her escape from the disfigured group, will come along with her to the port in order to help her look for the disfigured guy's hideout. Tanner sends Leo's phantom to spy on the Mole, who is trying to unlock a safe with the help of a cracker. When Tanner calls the Mole, he lies to him about his whereabouts. Tanner and Leo blackmail the Mole to help Mary look for information pertaining to the disfigured man's whereabouts as Leo's phantom follows them. The Mole walks into a club to find information on the disfigured man's whereabouts and is followed by Leo's phantom. When his phantom returns to the hospital, Leo's health seems to worsen, and when he walks out of the elevator to meet his family, Leo loses consciousness. On the other hand, Mary and the Mole are waiting outside a shop that belongs to a guy named Rico. Back at the hospital, Leo regains consciousness. Moreover, the doctor informs his family that Leo is totally fine. The cause behind his dizziness is revealed to be his medication, which has affected his appetite. Once his family leaves, Leo returns to his phantom state and flies to the city. After coming back, Leo's phantom overhears his parents crying, and Lily reading to an imaginary version of Leo so she does not get lonely. On the boat, the disfigured man overhears the voicemail sent by Tanner to Mary's phone. After hearing the voicemail, the disfigured man decides to send his henchmen to massacre Tanner. Meanwhile, he will stay back to deal with Mary. The disfigured man captures Mary after the Mole fails to rescue her and is knocked unconscious. The big guy and the little guy, the Face's henchmen, arrive at the hospital in order to eliminate Tanner. Tanner manages to gain the upper hand, but the big guy runs off with Leo's body. Leo's phantom is able to return just as hospital security arrests the two men. Leo's phantom follows the disfigured man's dog back to their hideout. It leads Leo to a ship where Mary is held captive. Nearing midnight, the disfigured man leaves Mary on board the ship and detonates a bomb. She frantically attempts to stop the virus by guessing the password that will shut it down, eventually succeeding when she realizes from the disfigured man's words that the password is eyelids. Tanner and Leo's fading phantom help her escape the sinking ship, but the disfigured man returns and is enraged over his plan getting destroyed. During the confrontation, the disfigured man lashes out at his dog, resulting in the dog attacking. Mary makes it off the ship as it finally sinks. Leo's phantom races back to the hospital, but disappears just outside the building. Spiritless, Leo's body falls into a coma. Tanner, who is guilty of endangering Leo's life to save Mary, tells her about Leo's abilities. Titi reads one of her bedtime stories to Leo's body. Fortunately, his spirit is able to return, and he tearfully reunites with his family. Sometime later, Tanner's leg has healed, and he begins a relationship with Mary. He receives a call from Captain Simon informing him that the mayor wants to congratulate him with a ceremony and a promotion, much to the captain's dismay. Back at home, Leo finishes reading Titi's bedtime story and gazes out at the New York City skyline. Despite the dangers, Leo and Alex persevere, and they eventually confront the Face in a thrilling final showdown. The two heroes use their powers to take down the Face and save the city from his destructive plans. Along the way, they also form a strong bond and become good friends.